This is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. It's up to you if you want to. Don't feel pressured. He's just asking, would you give me a kiss on the cheek? Would you?
When you would participate in Street Fighter tournaments, how were they run? And if you had to host your own, how would you run them? Well, it's funny thing you asked that, T-Dubs, because I did. I was for about 2-3 years very well regarded as a high-level guy running tournaments on the East Coast. I ran ECC one year. ECC was the biggest East Coast tournament, and I ran it. Okay, along with Josh Wigfall. Gotta give credit where credit is due. We split the responsibilities that year. But I ran a whole tournament series in the New York, New Jersey area where it would be Super Turbo, Third Strike, Marvel's Capcom 2, and CVS 2. This was before Street Fighter 4 came out, so those were the big four fighting games that were still very popular at the time in circles. Also, every once in a while, I would hold like a Tekken or something else at these events as well. But yeah, I held a bunch of tournaments in Connecticut as well as in New York and Jersey. And the way I run tournaments was very different from the way a lot of other people ran them. Allow me to explain. My pet peeve about going to a fighting game tournament, at least when I used to attend them, was that you would go, oh, I'm in a bracket, I'm ready to play. Well, guess what? No one's here, your opponent isn't here, the people from your bracket aren't here yet, so we're going to run a different bracket, or you'd have your first round match, then sit around for 3 hours waiting for your second round match. Like, what the fuck? I'm doing nothing. I'm bored to hell. I don't want to sit here waiting. I want to play my matches so then I can either leave or go play casual matches, because the thing is, at your discretion, it's not like you're locked in a room waiting for your match. You could do whatever you want at a game tournament, but if you're not there for your match, you could get disqualified. And sadly, I had to say, I always had bad luck. Like, I would be the guy, I'd be around the entire time waiting for my match, then I have to take a dump or something. I go to take a dump, I come back, oh, you were disqualified because you weren't here for your match. Dude, I was here for 3 hours, I go for 5 minutes to take a shit, I come back and you disqualified me, right? But that's kind of what would happen at these tournaments is they wouldn't be run efficiently. They would be run, but they weren't run efficiently. So you would be waiting and tons of downtime and just being pissed off. Another thing that happened at these tournaments was favoritism, which I really never supported at all. Oh, a notable top player is in your bracket and he said he can't make it here for another hour, so you're just gonna have to wait. Why? I don't care if a top player or not is not here. If they're not here, fucking disqualify them. You know, I'm not going to put up with that shit. And this would happen all the time at major tournaments. The whole tournament would be held up because the top player wasn't there yet, and everyone had to wait. And like, what the fuck? I don't care. They're not some fucking god or idol or movie star that I have to fucking put up with. Fuck them.
Do you show your toxic jealousy and just how petty you fucking are when you react to something like that? I mean, I'll be honest, just like any other normal human, yes, am I jealous of certain people and of people who are successful and whatever? Of course I am. Of course I'm going to have jealousy. That's a natural human emotion for those who have more than you. You're always going to have that natural kind of jealousy of those who maybe have, been more successful or things like that.
Disqualify their ass. They should have been here on time like everybody else. But that shit would happen all the time. Or floating. You might not know what that means. In a tournament that has a bracket, okay, basically, people have matchups, okay, and what would happen, oh, this person's not here yet, so we're just going to take them out of the bracket and put their name over here, and when they finally do show up, then we'll just squeeze them in somewhere into the tournament. That's not how it works. Like, when you have a tournament, you should have brackets preset, and it goes like that. Now, oh, this guy's not here, so he's favoritism, so he floats to another part of the bracket for later on in the tournament, and that shit happened all the time in tournaments that I attended. And they're all problems, in my opinion. Favoritism, preferential floating, not being, pertinent, or not pertinent, not being prompt with how you run the tournament. I was at tournaments that literally ran 24 hours. You had to be there at noon, and the tournament ran till noon the next day because people were not running it efficiently, and no one slept. I'm serious. I've been to tournaments like this. So, when I ran tournaments, I was the no-nonsense fucking guy. And the reason people liked my tournaments is because I did not put up with that shit. So people who were responsible, mature, and prompt would fucking be there, play their matches, have fun, and you'd actually have a good tournament, right? Versus, oh, we don't have to wait for this special person and shit. And top players who got preferential treatment everywhere else had to show up and act responsible at my tournaments, not like everyone else where they got their asses kissed. I didn't put up with that shit. Another thing I never did, I never had special guest attendee who got their ass kissed and was on the bill that they're going to be at the tournament, because there was a big thing going on at the time where Japanese players were very well known and people wanted to have Japanese players at their tournaments. But the Japanese players, I'm not even kidding you, would say, we're not going to attend your tournament unless you pay our way. Pay for the flight, pay for the hotel, pay for our food and accommodations, and pay for our entry fee. So, like, again, like they're a celebrity. They're coming into your tournament and they're going to draw more players. So pay $4,000 for them to have a paid vacation at your tournament. I never did that shit. I said, fuck that. You want to come, you pay your own way, you earn your place in the tournament. You don't just fucking come in like you're the big shot and everyone has to fucking roll out the red carpet for you. But that happened all the time in Street Fighter tournaments back then. The featured player, blah, 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 and they get the free ride and everything. Fuck that. Oh, by the way, then they wouldn't show up on time and they got the float. They floated through the bracket, preferential treatment. I did none of that. And for about 2 or 3 years when I was running tournaments, people who attended my tournament series loved them. I got nothing but positive feedback. The only people who complained, the people who wanted the preferential treatment and were lazy and they would show up late and get disqualified. I had one guy, won't say his name, but he was a very prominent player in a few different gaming communities. It wasn't just Street Fighter, but others. And he always got his ass kissed everywhere he went. And he was late and he got disqualified. He came to me 2 hours late, first, screaming angry. How dare you treat me like this? How dare you? I said, I don't care who the fuck you are.
So that's what it is. It's an element of jealousy, lol.
You weren't here. You know the rules. Sorry that I'm not like the other pushover, ball kissers who you go attend their tournaments. And people want their tournament done on time. This is an adult fucking run situation. Tough shit, you're out. 2 hours later comes back begging me, please just let me into the tournament. Please, I came out here to play in the tournament. No. That's how it was for me, I'm just a no-nonsense kind of guy. I don't put up with that shit, The two players fighting at my tournament, you're not fighting inside the venue. You go outside and fight in the street, and when the cops come arrest you, don't come, bitching to me because you acted like a 5-year-old in a schoolyard punching someone or whatever. You go out there and deal with your own shit. That's not going to do you fly in my fucking tournament, And that's how all that stuff was handled. So, that was me. And people respected me as a tournament organizer and loved the stuff that I did because of that. But that's honestly a lot of the times that I didn't like tournaments. And the final tournament where basically I stopped playing competitively in 2007 was because it was EVO, and it was preferential treatment and preferential floating, and it was bullshit. Like, they rigged the brackets against me. People say all the time, oh, Phil, you exaggerate. No, the people who run EVO don't like me for many, many reasons over the years, okay? There's many times I've called them out or whatever. I've been banned from SureYouCan.com multiple times for doing things like calling them out, GGPO, saying that it had input drops and delay, and they said it didn't, and then come to find out it did, and they said, oh, well, we didn't want to tell anyone because we were trying to sell it to Capcom and shit like that.
Wow, Phil, you really have a bad rep because of these nasty things you've done on the internet.
So the last straw for me was when I went to EVO 2007, and I was hanging out with Graham Wolf. He was a very high-level Super Turbo player. I had played against him and with him at other qualifiers that year for Super Turbo. Well, EVO staff got wind that I was playing with Graham Wolf for like a week to practice for EVO, so he knew all my shit, right? And they put me against him first round on purpose to fucking put me into the loser's bracket immediately in this fucking tournament because they didn't want to see me do well. They known that I had done well at all the qualifiers that year, but they wanted to fuck me over at the finals, so they put me against him first round. Someone who literally had learned how to beat me in a few days before EVO, and they knew that. They put him against him first round.
Well, that's a great theory, Phil, but where's your evidence? Oh, I don't need evidence. I just made it, it's just what I believe. Well, first of all, there's no evidence of anything because you can't prove that. Okay, where's the evidence? Present evidence of what you're saying.
By the way, guess who eliminated me in that tournament? Tokido, who was also in my bracket, which made no fucking sense because Tokido, again, someone who infamously I've played a million times, and you're like, if I'm going to face Tokido, it should be, at a high level of the tournament, not like third round in the fucking tournament, I'm playing Tokido or whatever. So, basically, they rigged the brackets against me, and I said, why am I ever going to go back to this fucking thing? I'm never going to have fun playing in this tournament. It's just a grind. It's a waste of time. And that's the thing. When I did tournaments, I did it fair. I'd split it up to make it so that every round was fair and challenging and fun, and I wouldn't do bullshit, floating, and I wouldn't have preferential treatment. It was a very different experience attending a DSP tournament versus someone else's tournament, and so people loved that, and for a lot of the top players, they didn't like that because they didn't get their asses kissed, and they didn't get that cheating kind of preferential treatment at my tournaments, so they didn't like that. Okay, a couple shout-outs here. Him and Omen did 100-bit cheers. Were any of the tournaments on stand-up machines? Yes. Yes, many tournaments from the entire time of the 90s into, like, the first half of the 2000s, every tournament was on a stand-up arcade cabinet. It wasn't until like the mid-2000s that there was a conversion from arcade to console versions of games. And even then, look at what happened with Super Turbo. They could never agree on what was the good console version.
False, wrong, incorrect, negative, no, nay, absolutely not. Fuck that, Phil. You are a dirty, rotten liar.
PS1, PS2, this collection, that collection, HD remix, then this version, then this. There's never an agreement on what's the right version to play of these games. The classics, at least. Alex Adela asks, Phil, what was your favorite subject in high school? Mine was drama class.
Wow.
I remember having a few. Here's the thing. I'll tell you what subjects I liked in high school while I was going to high school, and then I'll tell you what subjects I took in high school that I actually like to this day, and I'll tell you the difference. When I was in high school, my favorite class was computer lab. Why? Because we actually learned things that I could go home and immediately do. For example, I learned how to use Photoshop in high school. I learned how to do video editing in high school. I learned Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. Although in high school, I learned all these programs. So I learned things that I would use for the rest of my life in high school in computer lab. And it was something that immediately I could apply to my real life and have fun doing things like that. And immediately in the job market, when I got out of high school, I was looking for a job. I was able to apply those things. You see what I mean? So, yeah, that was the biggest one for me in high school, like computer lab. Now, long term, what classes in high school did I end up using the most? Honestly, and this might shock some people, Latin and British literature. What the fuck? What? Really? Yeah. Latin, the reason that I took Latin for 2 or 3 years. I think it was 3 years. And the reason that Latin ended up being one of the best courses I took is because it broke down the roots of most words in the English and other European languages to its base language that they all were based on, Latin. And if you know the core of a word, you can figure out what it means. Like, I can tell you right now, by looking at certain words, I can figure out what the word means in another language, even if I don't speak that language, because I took Latin. And that's really cool.
What is this penne meme?
So I can, a lot of the times I'll read, Spanish or French or, another language, and I could read it and like, oh, I know what that word means because, I see a core piece of it that's kind of a common thing.
I know you're lying.
And I like that a lot. I can't speak Latin, but I can break down stuff into Latin terminology so I understand it, and I like that. British literature, why? A lot of people over the years have said, Phil, you're a very verbose guy. It seems like that when you're doing a vlog, you're doing a stream, you can use language that a lot of people don't use. It's like not common language. But then a lot of times we even think maybe you're saying the wrong word, then we look it up and realize it's correct, that you're actually using a word that is, not a common word that people would use in normal dialect, spoken dialect, but you use these words. You're a very verbose guy, you have a big vocabulary. Where did you get your vocabulary from?
And right now, I need money to pay bills. I need that money to pay my bills. I need to raise a lot of money this month. By the way, I really desperately need the money to help with my tax situation. So, hint, hint, save the house. No lies, because I need the money right now with this whole tax situation I'm in. I need the money. I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills.
I got it from British literature and comic books. From reading comic books over the years, and then a British lit class that I had for like 2 years in high school, which was like, I think it was one of their high honors advanced placement style classes. I ended up reading so many things that what the fuck does this word mean? What does this word mean? And we had to learn vocabulary words every week that would then apply. We'd be like reading a novel, from, classical British literature, and you'd see the words in the novel, you'd understand what they meant. So that's kind of how, and it's funny because I hated Latin and I hated British literature when I was taking them, but those are the things that I actually use the most on a daily basis.
Sorry, I'm trying to be responsible here. I really feel this actually could hurt children.
A lot of the other shit, world geography, fuck if that ever has affected me whatsoever. Never needed that in my life. Most of the mathematics that I did in high school doesn't affect me. It's just basic arithmetic and stuff that I do on a daily basis that I need. Like, you go to the store and something's 20% off. Shit, how do I figure out how much the price actually is? I could do that shit quick in my head, but I learned how to do that in elementary school. That wasn't high school, you know what I mean? Fuck if I'll ever use algebra or calculus for anything. Most of the stuff that I use on a daily basis, I did not learn in high school.
So all those years of school, kind of went away for nothing. God, man, people are so ignorant sometimes.
It's just messed up.
Yeah. What it is a lack of responsibility. If the guy had a fucking he's a guy's a meathead, right? If he had a fucking piece of intelligence in his head, he would know not to do that because it's going to hurt people in the long run, but whatever.
Knows Nobody did a 100-bit cheer asking about an old video where I got disqualified from a Street Fighter 4 tournament. I wonder if there were any other times you've been DQ'd from a tournament. To my knowledge, okay, to my knowledge, that was the only, like, notable one, that I can remember. Usually I was the guy.
He was the guy that got caught masturbating in front of children.
It's the guy watching his Twitch.
Is that really him? Is he the one that got caught, Matt?
Yes!
Okay, who would sit around and wait hours on end for everyone fucking else to show up for their turn, okay? I was always the responsible guy who had to sit there and wait. And I would be the one who gets screwed over because I waste my whole day waiting to play my fucking tournament game. And then, oh, alright, well, you know what? I've been waiting for 3 hours. Can I go use the bathroom? Oh, no, your opponent's here. Let's play now. I gotta take a shit. Now it's too late. I gotta play, right? So I'm sitting here trying to play fucking Street Fighter turtling in my ass, a turd.
Oh!
Trying to fucking fight this game at a competitive level. It's like, come on, man. But no, I think that was really the only notable time that I ever got kind of DQ'd. That's why it was kind of a big deal. It was like, Phil is the guy who's always known as the guy who's there. How are you DQing him in a tournament? Like, all my friends were so angry at that tournament director, but whatever. Shout out to Welcome to the Dab Side, who's asking about memes. He's like, sometimes I see people memeing in the chat. I'd like to join in, but I'm worried about being banned. Would you ever put a list of memes that are okay? The bottom line is I usually don't even know what memes are what. Like, I don't know who's saying what, because I don't pay attention to these fucking memes most of the time.
Will Phil only read the chat if someone cheers, subs, or tips?
But if I notice something that's being disruptive or obtrusive to the chat, I'll usually bring it up and give a warning. The only time I would outright ban is if it's something blatantly insulting to me. If it's blatantly insulting to me, then obviously you're gonna get banned right away. Okay? But it's in the rules. You're not allowed to do negative detractor memes about me or others. Like, if you have people coming in and doing memes about others that are negative, it's not allowed. This is a stream where we're just supposed to hang out and have fun, you know, watching me play games. It's not about being dicks to other people. You know, even if I don't get the meme, it's still not right to come in here and start spamming negative shit about other streamers, alright? So please stop with that crap, alright? In general, you don't have to worry too much about it, but if you're actually paying attention to the stream, I don't know why you would be memeing crazy shit anyway, you know? Imminent55 did a 1500-bit cheer. Wow, there you go, man. You are
my bitch. Thank you for the free money, dummy. And you can lick my balls.
top cheer for the night for sure. I'll get you up there in a second. But he says, I really enjoyed your Ask the King episode. I know you answer questions every day during pre-stream, but it's different when you do an episode of Ask the King, in my opinion. Well, yeah, there's two reasons primarily why Ask the King is, I believe, much better than just answering random questions on the pre-stream.
Number one, I actually get to talk to the camera and elaborate. Like, you get to see my face. You get to see me move my hands. You get to see the passion when I'm answering a question. It's greed. It's greed.
And number two, because I take a lot more time with my answers, right? I flesh out the answers. I'll be able to give you a full-fledged answer that takes time rather than, oh, I'm on a pre-stream. Everyone wants to see a game, so I have to rush, right? There's no rush when I'm doing Ask the King, which is a great thing. I absolutely love doing Ask the King, and even though I pretty much have cut back on almost every other piece of vlogging that I do, I'm not going to stop doing that show because, you know, it serves a very good purpose, in my opinion. Welcome to the Dab Side Cheers. Is there a difference between trolls and people who are dorks but still enjoy your content? I really like the Wolverine figure story. I think it's funny cute. Here's the difference. Okay, the Wolverine figure story, which I told.
I went to a comic book store one day with my parents, and the Wolverine figure was there. And I turned to my mother and father, and I said, guys, listen, I want that action figure for my birthday. So, please, what I would ask you, I've never asked you to do this before. We know how rare that figure is. We know we've been to stores endlessly and we've never seen it in the flesh. It's finally here in front of our faces. Please buy the figure now. Hide it from me for whatever, for months until my birthday, and give it to me on my birthday. And so, like, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, they still didn't buy it, right? Week 4, we go back. It's gone. So my birthday came and passed, and guess what? My parents go, we're very sorry, Philip, but we couldn't find the action figure. I said, I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me? Like, it was such a no-brainer. All they had to do was buy it then. They could have hidden it forever. I would have never bugged them for it till my birthday. I knew I was going to get it on my birthday. Because they didn't buy it, I didn't get it. I did eventually get it, but it was the second run. And, of course, now it's a year later. Do you really think that something I wanted a year ago is as valuable as, you know, but then I was already starting to move into other stuff. And, yes, I see someone asking in the chat, yes, my parents did have the money to buy it. They were just fucking stupid.
Right? I told the story So obviously, oh, by the way, King of Hypocrisy, I did miss your cheer. I'll go back and read it in a second. I told the story. It wasn't like when I told the story, I didn't want anyone to know like it was something sensitive about something in my past. And some people make fun of the story. That's fine. Or if you think it's funny or cute, that's fine. But then bringing it up as like a way to stab at me or to make me feel bad when other things going on, when it's unrelated. Let's bring up the Wolverine story. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? It's just stupid. It's like some of the dumbest shit.
I prefer a penny because I'm 5 years old. The salty tears. Salty tears. Oh, you're gonna get salt. It's even now, again, my mouth overpowered with salt flavor. Why am I toxic? Yep, I'm toxic. Cat, you need to get out now. That place is toxic.
It's stupid shit. Let's see here. So, let's see. I did skip your cheer by accident. He says, why do people associate you with other content creators? I don't see the connection.
E-beggars.
You gotta ask them. Why do people associate me with other things? I don't know. Why don't you ask the people who associate me with those other things? I'm not them. More than likely because these are people who only consume themselves with drama. They only watch YouTube to watch overdramatic shit on YouTube. They only want to make fun of people, so they find people who have groupings or you know, these mob mentalities of negativity against them, and they latch on to them like leashes, right? I have nothing to do with those people. Very few, you know. LTG and I, what the hell do we have in common besides we blame Street Fighter for our losses, right? And for me, I'm just joking at this point. Like, the games I'm playing, Street Fighter 5, I'm terrible at this game. I hate the game and I'm terrible at it. Of course I'm losing because I suck at it, you know? So if I say, oh, this game, you know, oh, I hate this game, you know, this game sucks. I do hate the game, but I'm losing because I'm bad at it.
I myself am a former pro fighting game player.
I'm just overall pretty good at all kinds of different games. I think I could take something like that World Cyber Games Ultimate Gamer. You want to know the truth? I'm probably one of the best overall gamers in the country. You know, if I make a joke about, oh, that's bullshit, or whatever, you understand that, right? I don't know why they associate me with that guy. I have no fucking clue.
Greed and rage.
If you take USA, I have no idea.
E-beggars.
I watch his crap, and all I know is, all he's ever done is basically be annoying to me, so... I don't know about him, and, again, Wings, I literally know nothing about Wings of Redemption at all.
E-beggars.
The only thing I know is the people, fucking negative means people come in here and say. That's the most I know about him. That's the extent I know about him.
Help! The money came through, everything's good for now. What pasta do you prefer? I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh! Phil's a faggot. Phil's fat. Phil's a loser. Phil's a beggar. Phil's a racist. Phil's a scammer. DSP's a pedophile. DSP is a thief. DSP is a greedy fuck.
This guy's a bitch.
I have a micro penis. Alright, I'm not dead, but I swear to God I wish I fucking was.